From this lecture, we are going to discuss about a new topic, that is routine management practices. Till date, we have studied about housing system for dairy animals. Our next topic is about routine management practices which are followed on the animal farms. Routine means on day-to-day basis, and management practices are those which are required to be carried out for getting proper production performance from the animals. Now, initially in the old days, all the animals they were wild. They fall in the category of wild. So they were self-dependent for their livelihood. They were not dependent on human beings for their day-to-day requirements. But periodically, human beings they started domesticating the animals. Some of the animals they were domesticated. So domestication, it is an old practice. Since many years, human beings are domesticating the animals, and a new class of animals is created which is called as domestic animals, such as cow, buffalo, sheep, goat, poultry, rabbit and many more, which we are studying. And these animals they are domesticated for getting products from them, which are called as livestock products, such as milk, meat, eggs, wool, leather and many more. So for obtaining the different livestock products, the wild animals, some of the species of wild animals, they were domesticated by human beings. And as the animals are domesticated, they become dependent on human beings. For their livelihood, such as for shelter, they are dependent on human beings. For feed or nutrition, they are dependent on human beings. Then for health care, they become dependent on human beings. So, to take care of all these important factors, we have to go for routine management practices. Now we are running the animal farming as a business. And that too by applying the scientific knowledge. By applying the scientific knowledge, the business of animal farming is being carried out. And the purpose is to get more and more livestock products, to market them and to get profit out of that, to fulfill the nutritional and other requirements of society, and in turn the farm owner, he is earning the profit. So which are the routine management practices that are being followed on scientific lines at animal farms that we are going to discuss in this particular topic. Now, before going through the details of each and every management practice, we should know what is management. With reference to animal farming. So, what do we mean by management? Definition is being given in the book. You can go through that also. It is art and science of combining ideas. It is not only science, it is a skill also. So it is art and science of combining ideas for proper proceedings. To boost the production performance of animals, and to get product, valued product, livestock product, which can be marketed, which can have a market, a place in the market. That is what is management. So management, it is a skill, it is an art and science of combining ideas for proper proceedings to increase the production performance of animals at the farm and to get a worthwhile product which has a place in the market. So that is management. Routine means on day-to-day basis, and the practices. Some of the practices, they are carried out daily, on day-to-day basis. For example, milking. We have to take out the milk from milking animals on day-to-day basis. Alright. Some of the practices, they are being carried out with a particular time interval. For example, vaccination. This practice is not carried out daily. There is a pattern. There is a timetable. Which vaccine should be given, introduced into the body of animal, at what age, at what time of the year, in which season of the year. So, routine management practices which are listed under this particular head, some of them are carried out on daily basis, some of them they are carried out periodically. So, we will study which are those practices. I will give you the list of practices that we are going to study as far as animal farming is concerned. And we will give you in short the introduction of these routine management practices, and in the next lectures we will study one by one all these routine management practices in detail with specifications. In some of the practices there are merits, there are demerits, there are different types of routine management practices, and all the things that we will study in detail in the next lectures. Now here I will give you a list of routine management practices that we are going to study in our syllabus. First one is grooming. Grooming is a practice which is carried out almost daily. It is a practice in which the animal body is cleaned without using water. That is why it is also called as dry washing. There are certain objectives of carrying out grooming: to remove the dirt and dust particles from the body surface of animal, to remove the ectoparasites from the body surface, to remove the loose hairs, and also to increase the blood flow towards the body surface of body coat of animal. So this is one practice, grooming. Then another routine management practice we are going to study is identification of animals. When we are running a commercial animal farm, the number of animals are more, and it is not possible to identify each animal by its name, because almost all the animals are from the same breed. They look like similar from outside. The body characters are almost similar, their colors are almost similar. So to identify the animals on scientific lines, some of the systems are developed. These are also called as identification marks. So by using these systems, the identification marks are given to the animals, and these are required for different purposes, such as to record the production performance, to record the growth of the animals, to record the amount of feed to be provided to the animals, then for healthcare purpose, for identifying the sick animals and all those. So identification of animals, there are almost 4 major systems that we are going to study, such as tagging, tattooing, branding, hot branding, cold branding, and in today's date some electronic devices are also developed to identify the farm animals, to give the identification mark to the farm animals. So this is the another important routine management practice. Then dehorning. This management practice is carried out once in the lifetime of that particular animal, and particularly carried out when it is young, say up to the age of 15 days. By using different chemicals or electric devices, the horn-bud cells. Horn-bud cells means the cells from which the horn is to be coming out, it will grow. It is present on either side of pole. Suppose this is the face of animal. These are the eyes, and these are the horn buds. This central point is called as pole. Horn bud. So these are the horn bud cells. A black spot is present on either side of the pole. We have studied the external body parts of animal in last year. So you will be able to understand the thing. The horn is going to grow by multiplication of these horn bud cells. But for different purposes, we are not allowing the horn to grow, and for that purpose, the horn bud cells needs to be destroyed. So either by using a certain chemical or by using electric device, at an early age, these horn bud cells, they are destroyed. There are merits and demerits of this particular routine management practice that we will study in the due course, but this is a practice which is carried out only once in the lifetime of animals. Then milking. This practice is carried out in milking animals only, as the name itself indicates, by using a correct method of milking. And hygienic practices. Clean milk is obtained. For getting clean milk, certain practices are followed at the farm: cleaning, drying, grooming, and a particular method, scientific method is used for taking out milk from the teats of udder and teats of animal, that we are going to study in this particular practice, milking. Then drying off. Drying off is the term used to stop getting milk from milking animals. As far as physiological events in the life of female animal are concerned, birth, attaining puberty or sexual maturity, there is pregnancy. After successful completion of pregnancy period, there is parturition or birth of young one, which is followed by production of milk by mammary glands in the udder and teats. This particular period of giving milk is called as lactation period. On an average, it is 300 days. There is a great variation, and different factors are going to influence this length of lactation period, but on an average it is around 300 days. But at the end of lactation period, say 60 days or 80 days are remaining to next parturition, the animal is again pregnant, and now the energy is required, the nutrients are required for its own body maintenance, the nutrients are required for producing milk, the nutrients are also required for the growth of young one in the uterus of that particular female. So there is a load on the physiology of that particular animal, and to avoid that particular load or stress, 60 days prior to parturition or delivery, or in the last phase of pregnancy period, which is also called as advanced stage of pregnancy, we stop taking milk from the animal or female. That is called as a drying off. Alright. Then deworming. There are two types of parasites. Endoparasites, which are located inside the body, and most of them are in the gastrointestinal tract of animal, such as liver flu, roundworms, tapeworms, and if the load of endoparasites is more, it will adversely affect the growth as well as production performance of animals. So to take care of this, to reduce the endoparasitic load, some medicines are given to the animals periodically. That process is called as deworming. Endoparasites are also called as worms. So to remove the worms, deworming process is carried out. Another important practice related with ectoparasites is spraying and dipping. Some parasites are located over the body surface of animal. They have the antenna, they suck blood from the body of animal, leading to different symptoms such as irritation, loss of hairs, then adversely affecting the growth of animal. They also used to transfer some of the contagious diseases from diseased animal to healthy animal. And for that purpose, to avoid all these adverse effects, the ectoparasitic load should be minimized, and for that purpose insecticides or certain medicines are used which are sprayed over the body surface of animal, and these ectoparasites, they are removed or their load is minimized. That practice is called as spraying and dipping. Then another one is vaccination. Now this term is, you are familiar with this term nowadays, vaccine. We are facing the pandemic situation of coronavirus, COVID-19, and recently the vaccine is being made available on this particular disease. On all the diseases, the vaccine is not available, but for some specific diseases, vaccines are available. So they are to be introduced into the body of animal, taking into consideration the age of animal, season of year, dose, repeat dose, that is booster dose. So there is a chart for each and every species, the type of vaccine, when it is to be given, at what age, at what time of the year, how much is the dose, what is the route of introducing that particular vaccine into the body of animal, and all this. So vaccine is given to prevent the occurrence of disease. prevent the occurrence of disease, vaccine is given. So this is another routine management practice, vaccination. Then hoof trimming. You know, hoof is the part of leg which is in contact with the land or ground. In case of bovines, the hoof is divided into two claws that we have studied. They are called as bovines, as the hoof is divided into two claws. There are some animals in which the hoof is intact. It is not divided into claws. They are called as equines. For example, horse. Horse is an example of equine. Whereas cow, buffalo, sheep, goat, all these are bovines. So these hoofs periodically they will grow, and if they are not being trimmed periodically, as we used to trim our nails periodically, we used to remove the nails, grown up nails. So the grown up hoofs, they are to be trimmed off by using a particular equipment. Otherwise it may lead to lameness or difficulty in walking of the animals. Then carcass disposal. Carcass, it is the dead body of animal. When the animal dies at the farm, either due to disease or any other condition, due to old age also, the dead body of animal should be disposed of properly to avoid infection to other animals and the workers working over at the farm. So there are different methods of proper disposal of this dead body, carcass disposal. In human beings also, we used to either bury or burn the dead body. Burial or burning. So in case of animal, burning is not feasible, not economical. That is why almost all the dead animals, the carcass, it is being buried. So deep burying should be carried out. What are the different points which should be taken into consideration while proper disposal of the carcass. In some cases, suppose the animal is died due to anthrax, then it becomes more risky, as the anthrax microorganism is able to survive in the environment, in the soil, at any temperature for years together and may affect the other animals. And if the animals are affected with anthrax, there is a sudden death of animals. Within say 72 hours, the animal is going to die. To avoid that, if the animal is died due to a particular disease such as anthrax, then special care is to be taken to dispose of the carcass. So this is another routine management practice. Then record keeping. As I have told you, we are running the farm on commercial lines. Commercial lines means we have to make profit out of the business, animal farming business. And to judge whether the business is in profit or loss, we need to maintain records. So records are maintained with different objectives. Profit loss statement is obtained if the records are available. Then records are also required to know the pedigree of animals. the genetic information of parents of particular animals for different purposes, for selection purpose, for culling purpose, for reproduction purpose. So for that purpose also records are needed. So different types of records are maintained on the animal farm. Records are almost maintained at any type of institute. So at the cinema talkies also the records are maintained, at the educational institutes also the records are maintained. Similarly, records are also maintained at a commercial animal farm. A record of purchase of animals, a record of sick animals, a record of vaccinated animals, a record of milk produced at the farm, a record of milk or the livestock products marketed from the farm, the record of the electricity bill, the record of the salary of the employees, and many more. There are almost 15 to 16 types of important records which are maintained at the animal farm with different objectives. So this is also a very important management practice, a record keeping at the farm. So these are the different routine management practices. Some are carried out on daily basis, some are carried out on periodical basis. So from the next lecture, we will study one by one these routine management practices along with the specifications provided.